Hello again. Well, today I'm going to delve into a subject that I've been interested in for very many years, and that's the study of cryptozoology, which is basically the study of mysterious animals whose existence has still yet to be proved. Classic examples include the Loch Ness Monster and the Yeti. Now, not long ago, I investigated stories of a sea serpent seen off the coast of Skegness in the 1960s. So I thought I'd look at other reported sightings of cryptids in the county. Now, most people know of Bigfoot, also known as the Sasquatch, a huge ape-like creature said to inhabit the vast forests of North America. But lesser known is the Bigfoot-type creatures said to inhabit certain forests and woodlands here in the British Isles. And as unlikely as it might seem, there have been reports of Bigfoot-type creatures seen in the wooded areas around Lincolnshire. For example, in 2014, Adam Bird, the co-founder of the British Bigfoot Research Organisation, received a tip-off that a woodland near Friskney, a village near Skegness, was a hotspot for Bigfoot activity. During his investigation, he followed some strange noises in the woods and took a series of photos of the area, including one of a very large footprint. However, in one of the photos, he captured an image of a large, shadowy figure looming behind a tree that he hadn't noticed when taking the photographs. Many Bigfoot investigators think the photograph could be genuine proof that the British Bigfoot exists. In April 2019, a woman claimed to have spotted a Bigfoot in Bradley Woods near Grimsby after photographing a dark, shaggy figure among the trees that she described as ape-like. Bradley Woods has long held a reputation for being haunted by an apparition known as the Black Lady, and many now fear that the woods are also haunted by the Bradley Bigfoot. In 2013, a YouTuber posted a video purporting to show a Bigfoot-type creature walking along a pathway in Bourne Woods, an ancient woodland with a long history of ghost sightings. In recent years, there have been anecdotal reports of a mysterious biped in the woods, described as between 4 and 5 feet tall, and covered in reddish-coloured hair. Could the figure in the photograph be the mysterious beast? However, there is more to the mystery than a series of indistinct photographs. Some have claimed to have actually encountered a Bigfoot. In the Daily Star, February 2020, it was reported that a couple travelling on the A15 towards Lincoln between 1:30 p.m. and 2 p.m. noticed an upright moving figure near a lay-by roughly a mile or so from the Hibblestow turnoff. It was described as around 8 to 9 feet tall and black in colour. The creature was moving through the reed grasses and on into the bushes where the couple lost sight of it. In February 2020, another Bigfoot-type creature, described as 10 feet tall and human-shaped, was seen running across the road just off the A18 at Kermington near Humberside Airport. In the online newspaper Lincolnshire Live, Lee Solway, the host of the Realm of the Supernatural podcast, asked for anyone who may have seen the creature to come forward. It was Mr. Solway's co-host, Alan Finch, who saw the apparition, which he described as darker than the night, and he found and photographed the dismembered legs of a deer in the middle of the road, close to where he had seen the creature. According to Mr. Solway, a similar-looking creature was seen by a couple on the A15 at Caneby Corner near Lincoln. They told him it was so big it blocked their light of the tail lights of the car in front. These are just a few of the many reports of large ape-like creatures seen in woodlands and remote rural areas all over the British Isles. And it raises the question, what are people seeing? The vast forests of North America and Canada are home to a variety of large mammals, including bears, wolves, and big cats. So it's not inconceivable that a large undiscovered species of primate could be hiding in the hundreds of miles of dense forests. The same cannot be said for the tiny British Isles, however. There is simply not a big enough food source to sustain a race of 8-foot giant hominids, which suggests that a combination of trickery and misidentification could explain much of the British Bigfoot phenomena. For example, in 2005, a woman from Marshchapel near Louth took a photo close to her cottage on Seadyke Way of what she believed to be a bear. The photo appeared in the Louth Leader, and it prompted the paper to issue guidelines on what to do if you should encounter a bear in the Lincolnshire countryside. But the mystery of the Marshchapel bear was soon solved when the fearsome figure in the photo was identified as a local man who was out metal detecting, wearing a big woolly fleece with a furry hood. The sheer amount of sightings in the UK of hairy ape men can't all be explained by hoaxes and misidentification. There is anecdotal evidence to suggest that these creatures are not flesh and blood, but entirely supernatural. For example, a woman who encountered a 5-foot-tall ape-like creature in Bourne Woods said that it seemed to vanish like it sunk underground. But ghostly ape men are not the only supernatural cryptids said to haunt the landscape. Far stranger things have been seen, like the half-man, half-goat hybrid, described as being 6 feet tall with antlers and glowing red eyes, that has been reported in Grimsby and other parts of Lincolnshire over the past 40 years. There have even been reports of something resembling a werewolf that terrorized a caravan park in Grimsby in 1995. A security guard who claimed to have been chased by the creature was so terrified by his experience that he refused to go back to the park and resigned from his job. In 1992, Mr. K, a North Sea oil rig worker, encountered something truly bizarre. He said, "I was driving down the back road from Great Yarmouth to Lincoln. It was very dark and quite rural in that area. As I drove down the road, I noticed a shape in the fields at the right-hand side. As I got closer, it moved nearer towards the road, and I got the shock of my life. It had the body and legs of a horse, but a man's face. It was very scary and unpleasant, and I didn't hang around. I put my foot down hard on the accelerator and got the hell out of there. When I got home, I told my wife and friends about it, but most people just laughed at me. I kept quiet about it after that, but I'm convinced about what I saw. I know it seems impossible, but I did see it, and it wasn't just a horse or a deer." This is not the only report of a spectral horseman. In 1966, near Drogheda on the east coast of Ireland, a couple driving home claimed to have seen a horse with a man's face and horrible bulging eyes. And in King's Lynn in Norfolk in 1994, a similar creature was seen by a motorist on a lonely rural road. What is to be made of these sightings? Are they hallucinations, ordinary animals seen from an unusual angle, or something far stranger? Undoubtedly, alien big cats are the most widespread British cryptid. I have spoken of my own encounter with the Wolds panther in a previous video. There have been literally hundreds of big cat sightings all over Lincolnshire. Most are typically described as large black panthers. But the cat seen in the village of Minting near Horncastle in 2003 was most unusual, as it was pure white. It was seen in a field by a local man who at first thought it was a calf, until it started to move stealthily like a cat. Through his binoculars, he could clearly see that it was a huge white feline, easily as big as an Alsatian dog. He managed to get a few seconds of video footage before the creature disappeared behind the trees. The film was examined by the British Big Cat Society, and they set up models in the area of the sighting for comparison. Although they could not confirm the species of the animal, they concluded that the body and tail size suggested that it was a rare specimen of white leopard. The cat was seen again on at least 2 separate occasions, and experts and police confirmed that large paw prints found in the area belonged to a big cat. As far as I'm aware, there were no further reports of the creature after the initial spate of sightings, but the same cannot be said of a creature or creatures seen near the small village of Fiskerton, situated approximately 6 miles east of Lincoln. In August 1997, 4 young girls staying at a caravan park next to the Turret Arms pub at Short Ferry near Fiskerton went for a walk in nearby woods, where they encountered a 4-foot-tall, black bear-like creature feeding on a dead pheasant. The terrified girls ran back to the pub and told the landlord what they had seen. At first he thought it was a prank, until later that evening a motorist reported seeing something large and black run across the road close to where the girls had seen the creature. And also large paw prints were found at the location. There were several further sightings of the strange creature that was sometimes described as half bear, half cat, with glowing red eyes, but they were most likely exaggerated reports of one of the many big cats that have been seen in the area over the years. In an interesting footnote to the mystery, the Fiskerton phantom formed the basis for a character called Fiskerton, a 7-foot-tall gorilla cat featured in the animated TV series The Secret Saturdays. It's worth mentioning that the Turret Arms has associations with the legend of a wild man who was said to have terrorised the neighbouring hamlet of Stainfield, a fascinating legend that I have covered in a previous video. So it's possible that stories of ferocious creatures stalking the woods around Fiskerton might be an echo of the wild man myth. My investigation into cryptids would not be complete without a mention of the phantom black dog of British folklore that is often described as a huge spectral hound, darker than the night sky with eyes red as burning coals. Part revenant, part cryptid, phantom black dogs seem to arise from ancient myth, yet they are still encountered today. Black dog is one of the most distinctive figures of Lincolnshire folklore. There are a wealth of stories about them that I hope to explore in a future video. There are black dog woods, graveyards and lanes, like the one I visited in the village of Swaby back in 2018. Now this is Paddow Lane in the village of Swaby. Paddow Lane was said to be haunted by a black dog. Now the black dog is one of the most common rural phantoms in Lincolnshire. There are over 75 accounts of them to my knowledge. Now in the early 1980s, a local woman described her encounter with the black dog in Paddow Lane when she was a young girl. She walked past the manor house when the dog appeared, and I quote, "It followed me all the way to the beck, and then it disappeared." Terrified, she fled to a neighbour's house and she had to be walked home. Now, thinking back, the woman got the impression that everyone knew about the haunting, but nobody liked to talk about it. Well, that was my look at some of the cryptids said to haunt the woodlands and highways of Lincolnshire. The study of cryptids is a fascinating subject that encompasses elements of zoology, folklore, psychology and adventure, and it's a subject I will return to. But in the meantime, as always, thanks for joining me, look after yourselves, and I'll see you next time.